96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Blunt force trauma. Police confirming little Bella's cause of death. National Security Minister Wayne Munro unsure a sex offenders register will be effective. And the government hunting for bad antigen tests. Plus, in our interview today on the 5th anniversary of UB's charter, University of the Bahamas President Rodney Smith joining us live. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan. And this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, November 10th, 2021, and this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we've got another drawing of the Bahamas COVID vaccination raffle. And more of what's making news in the business world in Morning Blend business. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, amid widespread uproar over the death of 4-year-old Dianya Bella Walker on Friday, police confirming last night that she died as a result of blunt force trauma to the body, which resulted in multiple fractures. Over the weekend, police said the child, a resident of a major subdivision in New Providence, was taken to Princess Margaret Hospital unresponsive around 5 p.m. Friday. She sustained several injuries to her body, according to police at the time, labeling the incident a suspicious death, saying they will await an autopsy to determine the exact cause of death. The results were announced after 9 o'clock last night. Police did not provide any further details, but confirmed that a man and a woman taken into custody after the child's death were still being held. Their relationship to the girl still not revealed. Reports of Bella's death sparking national outrage, with many concluding, even in the absence of any official reports, what led to the child's death. There was a reaction from all sectors of society over the last few days. Meanwhile, National Security Minister Wayne Munro says that while it appears that sex offenders register should be able to be implemented pretty soon, he does not believe it will be effective in preventing sexual assaults. Instead, Munro says he believes a more helpful step would be to allow for dangerous criminals, including sex offenders, to be tracked up to 10 years after being released from prison. And nearly 1 in every 4 female university students at the University of the Bahamas, or in the Bahamas in general, admitted to being raped at least once, according to a recent study. The study, Mental Health and Negative Sexual Experiences of Bahama University Students, conducted by Dr. Elizabeth Williams, Dr. William Fielding, and Virginia Ballins, It was published in volume 27 of the International Journal of Bahamian Studies. The respondents were primarily between the ages of 21 and 24 and enrolled in the University of the Bahamas. A majority of respondents had participated in sexual intercourse. Similarly, 23.7% of 536 females and 7% of 113 males admitted to having been raped at least once. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville says work is underway to locate substandard rapid antigen tests in the country. The Jamaica Observer reported earlier this week that the Bahamas and Jamaica were among 2 Caribbean countries where the tests were being used. Darville telling reporters yesterday that they are aware this was brought to their attention by PAHO and that the tests were defective, coming, he believed, from India. He says they are on the lookout for those tests. Meanwhile, he says while the recent decline in COVID cases and hospitalizations is a relief, the government is moving forward cautiously and preparing for the possibility of a 4th wave. He says there's always the possibility of a 4th wave around the corner, and that his job as Minister of Health is to ensure that the country is as prepared as possible. Overseas, the World Health Organization reporting today that coronavirus deaths rose by 10% in Europe in the past week, making it the only region where both COVID-19 cases and deaths are steadily increasing. It was the 6th consecutive week that the virus has risen across the continent. In its weekly report on the pandemic, the UN Health Agency says there were about 3.1 million new cases globally, about a 1% increase from the previous week. Nearly 2/3 of the coronavirus infections, 1.9 million, were in Europe, where cases rose by 7%. The countries with the highest numbers of new cases worldwide were the United States, Russia, Britain, Turkey, and Germany. The number of weekly COVID-19 deaths fell by about 4% worldwide and declined in every region except Europe. Out of the 61 countries WHO includes in its European region, which includes Russia and stretches to Central Asia, 42% reported a jump in cases of at least 10% in the last week. In the Americas, WHO says that new weekly cases fell by 5% and deaths declined by 14%, with the highest numbers reported from the U.S. On Tuesday, pharmaceutical company Pfizer asked the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to authorize booster shots of coronavirus vaccines for all adults. WHO has pleaded with countries not to administer more boosters until at least the end of the year. About 60 countries are actively rolling them out. In Southeast Asia and Africa, COVID deaths declined by about 1/3, despite the lack of vaccines in those regions. In sports, Bahamian High School basketball player Frederick King has decided to continue his basketball career when he committed to play for the University of Louisville Cardinals starting in the 2022-2023 season. The former C.I. Gibson Senior High Rattler big man is currently in the NBA Academy Latin America in Mexico. He's the first Bahamian to attend the prestigious academy and started the chapter at the beginning of this year. King, who hails from Mangrove Key, had a great first year in Mexico. The 6'10 player averaged 23 points and 12 rebounds per game at the NBA Academy back in September, helping the NBA Academy Latin America to a 3-0 win-loss record, 3-0 win-loss record, and pushing his way onto NBA scouts' radar and college basketball coaches in the process. King converted 77% of his field goals and 74% of his free throws in Mexico. Read more about him in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NFL, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers saying that he stands behind the comments he made last week about why he didn't get vaccinated for COVID, but acknowledges misleading some people about his status before testing positive. Rodgers spoke on the Pat McAfee show on YouTube and SiriusXM 4 days after discussing on the same outlet his reasons for avoiding a vaccine. Rodgers tested positive Wednesday, was unavailable to play in the Packers' 13-7 loss Sunday at Kansas City, and remains quarantined in his Green Bay home. He said he shared an opinion that was polarizing and that he misled some people about his status, taking full responsibility for that. Later in the day, the NFL fined the Packers $300,000 and issued $14,650 fines to Rodgers and wide receiver Alan Lazard for violations of league and players' union protocols. ESPN first reported those fines. When he was asked about his vaccination status in an August 26th news conference, Rodgers said, quote, "Yeah, I'm immunized." Rodgers has said Friday he sought alternative treatments rather than the NFL-endorsed vaccinations because he's allergic to an ingredient in the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. He didn't specify the ingredient. The three-time NFL MVP says he didn't want the Johnson & Johnson vaccine either after hearing of multiple people who had adverse reactions to it. Meanwhile, the CDC says there's no evidence COVID vaccines cause fertility problems in men or women, one of the issues that Rodgers said he was worried about. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got high pressure that continues to build across the country and promote moderate to locally fresh winds. Meanwhile, another cold front near the southeast Bahamas, well, that same one continues to weaken. There's another one approaching. We'll tell you about that in a bit. Boaters should exercise caution due to the presence of moderate northerly swells. There's a risk of waterspout activity in the southeast Bahamas, and beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution along East Coast beaches due to the threat of rip currents and rough surf. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly to mostly cloudy and breezy conditions with isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the southeast Bahamas. A few stray showers elsewhere. Smokecraft advisory remains in effect due to the presence of swells. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots sees 2 to 4 feet near shore, but up to 5 to 8 feet along Atlantic exposed shorelines. It's about 75 degrees under partly cloudy skies right now in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics and tell you about that cold front coming up after traffic.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Strachan Commercial Pest Services has provided trained certified technicians while using environmentally safe industry standard products. Pests can devastate your business. Together, we will ensure adequate sanitation standards and safe pest exclusion methods. Uncontrolled pest problems lead to significant financial loss due to food contamination, business disruption, and stock waste. Strachan provides detailed solutions protecting your business and reputation. Strachan, #1 in pest control services.
Best rate, no debate. Best rate, no debate.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy up to 1 150 megabits per second, plus 157 TV channels and unlimited home phone minutes for only $99.99.
Best rate, no delay.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network. Conditions apply.
Experience holiday shopping joy with an RBC Rewards Visa Platinum credit card. Apply by December 31st and receive 20,000 welcome points. Enjoy multiple ways to redeem your RBC Rewards, including My Way Travel Credit, Cashback Credit, gift cards, and much more. Apply today at your nearest branch or rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Rewards and experience holiday joy with RBC. Conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chester Robards.
How you doing?
Great to have you with us, as always.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just we have a lot to get to this morning. You're finding little nuggets of joy in the newspapers
It
already.
must be a thing because there's two of them.
Two of those like that?
Yeah.
Well, maybe
one at the
that's
bottom as well. There must be some
The
kind
same
of-
name?
Not the same name. It's
Okay.
a different name.
Oh, no, but I mean it's the same. Maybe that's their real name. Maybe they...
Maybe.
Well, you want to say it? Read it.
But,
read it.
well, I found it interesting that people have legal notices to change their name, and it seems that they put the last name
You could say the name.
of
It's
the
in the
name
paper, right?
is Bay.
Read it. Read the whole thing.
The public is hereby advised that I, Tracy Shrell Pratt of New Zealand Court Flamingo Gardens, Nassau, Bahamas, intend to change my name to Tracy Shrell Pratt, B-E-Y, which is how we spell Bay.
A lot of us. Yeah.
Right. A lot of it, yeah. Some
Yeah,
people
not
spell it
everybody.
differently,
Yeah.
but
But that's definitely how I spell Bay.
And then there's another one. Leslie Clayton Roll intends to change his name to Leslie Clayton Roll Bay. So that's. I mean, if somebody knows, is that a real last name or something? Or is that a thing?
What's going on?
Is it? I don't know. Will we see more of it? Is there like, what's going on?
Huh. Bay. Okay. Well, when you say, hey, Bay, and then, that's who they are.
It seems like there's a Bay clan.
Bay movement.
Yeah, a Bay movement. Maybe we'll see more of that.
The land of the bays.
Somebody could tell
Okay.
us.
All right. Well, good luck with that, I guess. Tracy and Leslie.
I don't think anybody will object.
If they run for office, Minister Bay, Prime Minister Bay.
Hey, it's a great idea.
Wow. Okay. All right. There you go. By the way, before we get into stuff, I just wanted to know. I mean, I know things have changed. The government's changed. And a lot of things that were supposed to be fallen by the wayside. So all those traffic rules that we had before, they're no longer like you can talk on the cell phone and drive and text now because it seems to be.
What are you talking about?
I mean, and then I don't know who people are in the mornings. Who you got to talk to at 6 o'clock in the morning on your phone? I don't know what some people are asleep. But what's the big conversations? But the texting that's going on at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
In the car?
You could see, like, why is this person driving? The person in front of me today ran up on the median, how distracted they were.
Yeah.
And,
I saw an older gentleman in the middle of the road by Sandals. Middle of the road.
driving.
And then when he corrected himself, he went back into the phone.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
yeah.
heck?
So the texting and the talking and it's more so than ever before. And then we went through all that to put down those yellow box things.
Right.
Which no one explained.
Some of them are disappearing.
They've disappeared, and nobody pays any attention to it.
No.
Traffic is blocked up at all the intersections. Yeah. So what was that? What was the point of that? Since we're exposing how much the previous administration paid, how much did we pay to have that
It was a trial.
exercise
It was
done?
a trial.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it was necessary. It was
Yeah,
desperately needed, and there were intersections they didn't do it, and I was wondering, why didn't you do it here?
Yeah.
Because we need it here.
Yeah, they was trying it out.
Oh, okay.
They
Yeah,
put
what-
the disappearing paint, so that's why some of them are gone.
Oh, that's what it is. Invisible ink, eh?
They're like, nah, it ain't working. Let it go.
I guarantee you they paid quite a few people to put that down. And probably paid quite a bit for the...
You know,
With the paint.
the only thing they had to do was put in the traffic rules that you're going to get fined for blocking the intersection. And that's it.
Any intersection, anywhere.
Anywhere. And then you straight.
All the time.
Because people love to do it.
So there we go, another exercise in wasting time. But anyway, okay.
And paint.
And paint.
Paint's expensive.
And they did it overnight. They did it late, and so they paid people probably overtime. And yeah, great stuff. Anyway, okay. We have a lot going on this morning, and we told you how you can hit us up in terms of social media and the text line, and we'll give you the phone numbers, as we said, in a bit. Coming up this morning, we've got UB President Rodney Smith. It's a big day for UB. It's 5 years since they officially became the University of the Bahamas, and it's their charter day, and so...
Been that long, huh?
Yeah, so we're in UB Blue. You are too?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Woke up in the UB spirit.
The UB Blue is also Guardian Blue. But hey, man, we're all family right across the street from us, so that's fine. And
We Mingos today.
That's right. Well, we weren't Mingos back then.
Right.
What were we?
He's still a Mingo,
We were
though.
Caribs or something like that?
Huh?
COB? I
don't
think back
remember.
when we were college. Yeah, they weren't. They weren't Mingos.
No.
And then we did have a guest. A guest had to postpone for Morning Blend Business. So we're going to be talking. There's a lot of stuff in the business section today. And over the past few days to talk about business news in the country. And we'll get to all of that. But let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, we got word last night about the exact cause of death of little Dianya Bella Walker. Blunt force trauma. Blunt force trauma. Our Candida Dame's writing about it in today's National Guardian. Amid widespread uproar over the death of 4-year-old Dianya Bella Walker on Friday, police confirming last night that she died as a result of blunt force trauma to the body, which resulted in multiple fractures. Over the weekend, police said the child, a resident of a major subdivision on New Providence, was taken to Princess Margaret Hospital unresponsive around 5 p.m. Friday. She sustained several injuries to the body, according to police, who labeled the incident a suspicious death at the time and said that they will await an autopsy to determine the exact cause of death. The results were announced after 9 o'clock last night. Police did not provide any further details, but confirmed that a man and woman taken into custody after the child's death are still being held. Their relationship to the girl still not revealed. Of course, this has been what everybody's been talking about for the past few days, and just very, very disturbing. Of of course, some of the initial reports have led people to bring up the idea of a sex offenders registry, and we don't know whether that was a factor here at all, whether this was a sexual assault. There were initial claims on social media, but we don't know yet. But the sexual offenders register and sexual abuse in the country, hot topics once again. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe was asked about this and had some very interesting comments. Take a listen to what he said to reporters yesterday in this report from our Jillian Gray.
Of National Security, Wayne Monroe says while it appears that a sex offenders register could be introduced soon, he does not believe it will be very effective in preventing sexual assaults. Monroe says he believes a more helpful step would be to allow for dangerous criminals, including sex offenders, to be tracked for up to 10 years after being released from prison.
I am much more persuaded that a recommendation by the Parole and Reentry Committee 2016 is more useful, and that is a proposal that any dangerous criminal will be subject to being tracked and conditions after they're released from prison. So if you are a sexual predator, when you're released from prison, we will monitor you electronically for up to 10 years after you get out of prison. To my mind, that is more useful.
Monroe said the sex offenders register appears to be ready to be rolled out.
Sort of an appointed day notice had been signed by the Attorney General some years ago. I'm not certain that he is the proper minister to sign it. I'm asking the Attorney General for an opinion on that. But I'm going to be briefed on this on Thursday. My understanding is that the software is here and available, that there is, I think, at least one person that it was being tracked to test the system, and I will find out on Thursday why it has not been fully deployed already.
Monroe's comments follow the assault and subsequent death of 4-year-old Bella Walker. The incident has sparked widespread outrage and prompted calls for more to be done to protect children.
While I hear all of the talk about a sex offenders register, I would question its efficacy. We live on an island 21/7. It'll take you exactly 45 minutes to get from one end of the island to the other end of the island, so I'm not sure what value there is on knowing who is on the 21/7. But if it may prevent one offense, we're going to follow through with it.
Okay, our Jillian Gray with that report there, Wayne Monroe. Oh boy. Well, okay, so here we go. Sometimes there are lots of things that we personally don't see the need for, that we don't really will, understand or appreciate it. But trust us, trust the others sometimes, that it will definitely help. It definitely will help. And so I say, with your idea about the tracking, okay, sure. Why not both? We need everything, all the tools, all hands on deck, whatever we can. And I'm sure many people would be reluctant about a tracking system, because we've seen how well our folks track people, and they will only be able to track that you were absolutely there molesting that person after the fact.
Why
after
only
all
10
the
years,
damage is
though?
done. And why only 10 years?
Well, that's interesting.
We need everything, and people need to know. People need to know this person is dangerous. Be careful around there. Be careful around them. Why even mention it? Why even speak? Just we're working on it, and we also think this will be a good tool in addition to that.
Yeah.
One ahead of to warn people, and the other one to follow up on the ones who need to be followed up on. Right? We've seen this before, how people have been able to disable devices and have been dead for days.
Have the police ever done an audit on their tracking systems?
My goodness gracious! Does it still work?
Yeah, I see. How does it work? Because I see plenty of people out on the street with their bracelets on, just chilling.
Well, they're not under house arrest, which also makes
what's the point?
Little sense, right? They can do whatever, but they have to be. Yes. So again, after something happens, we can tell whether you were there. Oh yeah, you were there.
What it is?
Oh yeah. So that's helpful, sure. again, both and more. We can think of even more, perhaps, that could go along with both of those systems.
But I thought even if you weren't under house arrest, you had to be within a certain range of a house, of the place there that you reside.
I think it depends. I've heard different things. So some people can't go beyond a certain place, and others have to be home by a certain time, and others have to check in at a certain time. And so it depends a lot, it sounds like. And some people have been allowed to travel. They've had permission to leave the island. And so it's just really interesting.
It's very,
very bizarre.
They should do an audit, though, so we could understand how it's working since we pay for
You
it.
think you'd get the results of that?
No, but,
right.
you know.
Yeah. They probably know very much how it's working. And yet, here we are. All right, so let's get your reaction. Maybe you see something. Maybe you understand what Wayne Monroe's trying to say there. 21 by 7, yeah, it's big enough for all kinds of garbage to happen. So
We know this.
right? So, yeah. And yet, there are people on this island you haven't seen in many decades. And they're alive and well and thriving. So, yeah, it's big enough for everything possible to go down. So, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's get your reaction to that. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Blend. I share your view. Let's do both.
And
Let's
more.
rock.
And more.
And do more. See, man, you so on top of things. But I always call with personal issues, and here is my major concern. Because I just heard about something that happened yesterday in Cowpen Road. My concern is this. I have a very unusual surname. And so far, someone has already been accused of doing garbage with my surname. If someone else does that with my surname, I have to leave the country. Because I'll feel sad.
Well, do they have
Too
your
sad to
first
hang around.
and middle names too?
Well, I'm only telling you, man. This thing, this is really hitting home in that way, and I just thought I'd share that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but that's the way it is, and it's sad because I'm facing this garbage. All right, thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like a story to tell us one day.
You know, I always
There.
tell bald and bearded red fellas around town, I say, look, don't do craziness, because
They all think
it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay. This person says here, what madness is Minister Monroe running on with? We as a public have a right to know who are predators in our community. They're afraid of sexual offenders lists because a lot of influential and politically connected people's names will be on that list.
Really? Wouldn't you have had to be convicted?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't know anyway, right?
No, that's interesting. Yes. That's. But sometimes things happen and you don't know. You're right in the courts, and sometimes not quite reported. But okay. This one says here, tracked for 10 years when they can't even track the red light runners? What dumbness is this about the size of the island? We need to know who these beasts are, why you want to keep them secret to kill and rape again? Well, while everyone's calling for the registry, please remember the law mainly applies to the poor, really. I think a universal income, I think a universal income would be more effective. It is strange you will spend all the money on punitive measures, but when you say just give the people the money, there is hesitancy. They texted yesterday they want a universal income, and that will alleviate some of the problems we're seeing in terms of crime, especially supposedly sexual deviance. I don't know. I don't understand it because people will still blackmail you into giving your share of the universal income and steal it from you and do whatever it takes. And so I don't. Okay. But anyway, Mr. Monroe's dismissive comment on the registry just goes to show again how men are protected from being held to account for sexual offenses. Well, okay. Why not have the registry and the tracking system? Who is the minister protecting, the victim or the predator? Well, it won't just be men. It just won't be men. But it was a strange comment. Absolutely. This is a text. That was a stupid, insensitive comment by Wayne Monroe. Another one here. Please tell the QC minister that the Bahamas is not only New Providence. I think the Minister of National Security is conflicted. Is he the defense lawyer for alleged criminals, or is he the minister charged with protecting and creating a safe and secure environment for all who reside in this country? I feel a cabinet shuffle is needed. Already? Wow, okay. What madness is Minister Monroe running on with? We, as a public, have a right to know. I think, did we read that already? Monroe was always a defense lawyer, which means he always tries to get criminals off for wrongdoing. As Minister in National Security, he's acting like a defense lawyer. Can you hear me now? Now that the hysteria of sexual predators has been brought to the forefront, okay. The real issue has been lost in the noise in the marketplace. The issue has always been the child care crisis. Now let's talk about that. They are our future, our country's future, hopes and community disappointments. Fix that and we would have fixed the country. Let us start that conversation because that is where our problem arises from. Well, we've been also saying that, but yes, indeed. Okay. What in the world is universal income and where does the money come from? Right? I understand this is a concern of the entire country right now. However, is the Minister of National Security, is it in the Minister of National Security's portfolio to be speaking about this? Still speaking as a lawyer. Well, the sex offenders register would likely be under his portfolio, I'm sure. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Doing well.
Good.
Well, my perception of that is as long as nobody is charged as yet, anybody can speak about that situation until somebody's been taken in front of the court. Then anything that's said about this case will be a problem. Dwight, did you hear exactly what the minister said at the end of his statement?
Statement? What do you mean?
That that the sex registry wouldn't be that effective because of the size of New Providence, but they're going that road anyway?
Yes, we heard that.
Okay. But please explain it to more the callers, because I don't think they understood what he said.
It's still a crazy comment to make, and people are concerned that he would say something like that.
It's a crazy comment, but at the end of the day, they're still going that road.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different if he said they're not going that road, then I could understand it actually really being crazy.
Yeah,
you
but that I hear you completely, but people that gives people some concern when the National Security Minister doesn't understand how important it would be for there to be a sex register.
We have a sex offenders registry that the former government didn't enact it. Okay, that Dr. Nordich put together, and if he didn't die, it would have been enacted a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So why isn't it that enacted as yet?
I don't know, but we need it.
Okay, thank you, man.
Okay. I mean, okay, we're making it political now. The minister says we live on an island that is 21 by 7. Who are the we he refers to? Is Nassau the entire Bahamas? We need to govern for more than Nassau. Well, it's certainly a lot of the Bahamas. It's certainly a very large majority of, but in any event, yes, we do. Is it true that the CDC put a travel restriction on us due to the emergency orders ending? I don't know what you're talking about. But they are, we're still at, what is it, level 4? Is it still 4 or is it back to 3? Still 4? That's been in effect for a while now. All right. Why are they withholding the identities of the so-called man and woman in custody? We need to get the ball rolling for Bella's justice. Well, they have to charge them. They were waiting for the cause of death, and now that they have that, there might be some action soon. Okay. We need to make sure this one goes. They need to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. We don't need any more.
Yes.
The minister never said there won't be a sexual offenses registry. He said one should be released shortly. He stated that he is not sure how well it would work. Yeah. That's right. That isn't necessary to say. You could have doubts about a lot of things, but it's moving forward. Don't call into question the effectiveness of the thing before it comes into being. right? Especially in a position like that. If you are in a position like that, that just now diminishes in some people's minds, and right, that wasn't necessary. Some opinions you can hold to yourself when you are in a certain position. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend.
Good morning, sir.
Hi. Good morning.
Pleasant day, pleasant day.
Same to you.
Have we gotten any definite report on the inmate that died in Her Majesty recently?
No, not yet.
Okay. I refer to that because I heard of persons on radio saying that someone they can maybe break into a window or something of the sort, just to get into prison to take care of that person who injured the young lady, who actually fatally demised the young little girl. So I just because of that, our rule of law, we need to check into everything thoroughly. Regarding what happened to the young lady, we do things in sections. There's a time, a month when we focus on violence against women or women against children. These things we should be concerned with them all year round. Okay, but I want to deviate a little to the mandatory vaccination situation. The new legislation that makes requirement that persons should be vaccinated to attend a sport, isn't that indirectly saying that Bahamians have to get a mandatory vaccination? Isn't that, in a word, doing it in a way apart from overtly, so to speak? Some is slightly covertly, because it was said that vaccination is not mandatory in this country, or will not be, at least at this point in time. But by saying that some event and activity, you must be vaccinated to participate in it, what is that really saying?
Yeah, some would agree with you. I actually had called in yesterday when we were talking about it.
I only heard your program on the repeat.
Oh, okay. All right.
I heard your program on the repeat.
Yeah, I'm sure some will see it that way. I guess the powers that be will say, well, you don't have to take part in the event, which is
we have
unfair.
enough lawyers in this country to know that is not saying so.
Many will see it like that. Many will. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. This text here: tracking is good for killers and armed robbers, but if I'm a predator living with a girlfriend and her children, how does tracking help? I can still offend. Yeah, exactly. And the way how things look, there are people who live right next door, and on a tracking device, it may look like you are home, but you are. Anyway,
it helps for the people in that neighborhood to keep their guard up,
knowing if you have registered. Yeah. Mr. Monroe's a defense lawyer, so why are you all surprised at what he said? Okay. Could it be that he is managing public expectations because research may have shown that the registry may not be as effective in our environment as we think? I think we get in our feelings too much. I don't think anybody thinks it prevents sexual assaults. I don't think anyone thinks that at all. But definitely you know who to be careful around. Right? So, and he said that. He said it doesn't prevent assaults. But
that's not.
But again, planting the seed of doubt.
You're right.
I don't know what was the point of that. And yeah, we need to get in our feelings. We absolutely do, because we're all tired of talking about children being killed in this country and being treated like garbage. We're all very tired. It hurts. So yeah, get in your feelings. Get in your feelings. So what is that caller saying? If the doc brought the bill, then why didn't the PLP pass it? Well, let's not get into the political side of this, but I don't know why he brought that up. I don't. He's a cabinet minister, thus he should not be giving his personal opinion in contrary with the cabinet. Dwight, if a sexual offender has paid his sentence, why do we need to always now track or register them and not anyone who's been to jail for other offenses, i.e. assault, murder, or attempted?
I think he was saying that should happen too, though.
Texter, are you serious right now, though? Because, and you know where you are, right? I see your text is coming from a 242 number. So you're in the Bahamas. You see how the law is here and the maximum sentence for certain things. So you think, oh, yeah, you served the maximum 3 years for this, whatever. And now, yeah, why do we need to track you anymore? Because you served your time. Go about and live free. Yeah? You meant to send that text. Okay. Thank you very much. Another text. Monroe seems conflicted. He's thinking like a defense attorney. That one never could control his mouth. What now? Whatever comes into his head, he says. Grammy said, some you talk, some you talk, some you keep. Monroe,
keep some.
No, well, Monroe, you are a minister now. Act and speak accordingly, please. That's the text. Okay. In this instance, we say thank you for your opinion, minister. Now get on with the desires of the nation as we instructed. Why should we be minded about a minister's personal opinion in a weighty matter as such that has been requested for many years to date? He did say serious, is the text. He did say serious crime, not only sex offenders being tracked. Yeah. Well, I think depending on the age, you might need more than 10 years.
It's true.
All right. So we'll continue to send you messages about that. Meanwhile, in the paper today, there's some results from some surveys. Very disturbing, and my goodness. The headline is, nearly 1 in 4 women in universities say they were raped. The study, Mental Health and Negative Sexual Experiences of Bahamian University Students, was conducted by Dr. Elizabeth J. Williams, Dr. William J. Fielding, and Virginia Ballins. It was published in Volume 27 of the International Journal of Bahamian Studies. Now, nearly 1 in every 4 female university students in the Bahamas admitted to being raped at least once. According to the study, the respondents were primarily between the ages of 21 and 24 and enrolled in the University of the Bahamas. A majority of the respondents had participated in sexual intercourse. The study noted that 23.7% of 536 females and 7% of 113 males admitted to having been raped at least once. Only 1 of the 11 male respondents obtained medical help for physical reasons following the sexual assault. In the case of the women, 5.6% of 88 respondents sought help for mental health reasons after being sexually abused, and 4.3% sought help for physical reasons. Of the 24 men who had suffered sexual abuse or rape, 58.3% agreed that it had affected their mental health. In the case of the women, 81.7% of the 241 respondents agreed that it affected their mental health. There's more on this in the paper today. Close to 40% of university students believe that rape cannot occur within a marriage.
Back to that, huh?
Back to that. Oh, 39.6% of men and 43.8% of women agreed that a married couple cannot rape each other. Okay, now the study noted, quote, this indicates that considerable disagreement on the topic in a society where the law recognizes rape only outside of marriage, as demonstrated in debates on marital rape. Okay, so we know if we even mention that, that's going to derail the show into a different direction. We'll have to pick that up on another day when we don't have guests. But back to the main part, the rape outside of marriage. We know we have a problem. We are among the highest per capita. That came out a few years back in the region for sexual assaults and sex crimes. And we've got real issues here that are, as the previous caller mentioned, only really talked about in the designated month.
Yep.
But outside, most people won't even think about it twice.
Or when a serious incident occurs.
Right. Yeah. Let's hear what you have to say, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Chester.
Hi. Good morning.
You know, Dwight, you're so correct. Chester's correct. You know, I want to comment and then say something very important about yesterday's show, right, Dwight? But, you know, Dwight, just that you mentioned about the university students and their perception because they're young, right? Maybe rape should be classified in a few stages. You know, I don't know really. You know, maybe lawyers could get together at the Bar Association because if someone is married and they rape, within marital rape can occur, of course, but it shouldn't be the same as if somebody breaks in a house, rob a house, and rape a woman, or rape and murder. Man, you can't. You see they saying right, man? You get what I'm saying, right? Because you kill someone, if you rape someone and then kill them, what could be worse than that? You feel me? And now, I don't know if you all noticed, some of the young guys, you know, you doing foolishness, the police has tracked them, you know, before they even convicted. I don't know if you guys noticed that, right? They walk around with the ankle bracelet. That's a tracker, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's really, to me, rape. Of course, you should have a sexual offenders register and of course it would have a benefit, even because you will be conscious of who they are and where they are. It doesn't matter who they are. You understand? I don't get politics mixed up in it, but I just wanted to make a quick comment. You realize that I agreed with me and you agreed with the same thing yesterday, right?
With the what? Sorry.
I say you realize I was agreeing with what the government did and what you said, right? The fact that people said I didn't answer, the answer was self-explanatory. I gave you the data on the transmission, the demographics, and then when I had a hang up and you asked if you should wear a mask in an indoor. That was obvious. You should wear a mask. I'm not going to sit here and try to deceive you. You should wear a mask more so indoors than outdoors. That's what it was really all about. But I was against the vaccine mandate, as the other caller said.
Right.
So it's just that people find obstacles instead of looking for solutions. The solution was self-explanatory. I would not sit here and tell people wearing masks indoors is foolishness when the transmission dynamics and the viral particle size shows that indoor transmission is more likely than outdoor transmission. You see, they saying justice. So I just couldn't do it, but it's just amazing what people hear what they want to hear.
That is very true. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's get to some more of your messages before we go to the break. Someone says here, if you're a sex offender, why would you be living with children? Are we only going halfway on this? Okay, all of y'all are really acting brand new today. I'm not sure what's going on here. What? What do you? Okay. What are you trying to figure what's going on here? What do you mean by that? You know, what are you saying? You think that you're going to be so? Okay, let's not do this.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, track for 10 years when they can track you through that. Do they get treatment? That behavior does not disappear. Clearly, many of us need to see therapists. Are they defining underage sex as rape in that study? Whatever it is, they regard it as being raped. And they regard it as being raped. That was, right? Whatever it was. And that's important. The victims regarded as being raped.
Right.
All right. Let's take a break. I think this is a good time to do that. Yeah? This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing heavy traffic this morning on Mile Butler Highway. As usual, that's a hot spot most mornings, and it's very hot today. The traffic has extended all the way south of the Fire Trail roundabout. So you'll have quite a ways to go before you get to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. And it's backed up along Fire Trail as well, eastbound to the roundabout with Mile Butler Highway. And so that's, again, the northbound lanes this morning. Gladstone Road looking busy for you as well, from Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive. Heavy traffic eastbound on Carmichael to Blue Hill Road, which is also looking busy from just south of St. Vincent Road all the way up to the roundabout with Independence Drive, and especially north of Soldier Road. Westbound on Carmichael, traffic is building there as well, heading to Coral Harbor Road. Other parts of the island, we've got some building traffic along East Street South, especially south of the East-West Highway, Independence Drive roundabout, and on Prince Charles Drive westbound at pockets, especially at the major intersections, and building traffic along Bernard Road as well. Marathon Road northbound and the intersection at Soldier, Village, Bernard, and Wolf getting busy at this hour. That's what we're seeing so far. We'll have another report for you after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And it's time for another check of your weather for today. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure that continues to build across the islands and promote moderate to locally fresh winds. Meanwhile, a cold front near the southeast Bahamas continues to weaken. And boaters should exercise caution due to the presence of moderate northerly swells. There's also a risk of waterspout activity in the southeast Bahamas. Beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution along East Coast beaches due to the threat of rip currents and rough surf. Your forecast for today for all areas, partly and mostly cloudy and breezy, with isolated showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms in the southeast Bahamas. A few stray showers possible elsewhere. For boaters, the small craft advisory remains in effect due to the presence of swells. Temperature-wise today, look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure centered north of the Bahamas will continue to maintain moderate to fresh winds over the area. The cold front expected to move off the coast of Florida on Friday, along with associated prefrontal activity, will generate some unsettled weather over the country. So ahead of that, for Thursday, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms by Thursday afternoon. Friday, variably cloudy and a bit breezy, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, showers and thunderstorms associated with the strong non-tropical low centered about 350 miles northeast of Bermuda continue to show signs of organization. The system has a medium or 50% chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robarts. We're going to, in a few minutes, be talking with the president of the University of the Bahamas. 5 years, still staying college. Dr. Rodney Smith in just a moment. Just want to read a couple of your final messages here on what we've been talking about so far this morning. Some great ones came in before we take a break. This person says here, what I think Monroe intended to explain was that it may be a waste of time and resources when it is hardly necessary for islands our size. You can't add someone to the register unless and until they are tried and convicted. So using tracking would be better suited, better as it will be a direct connection to the powers that be. Think about it. Will you keep the list on your phone and cross-reference everyone you see and suspect? Well, maybe some might. Some might. The tracking will tell you immediately that you are a high-level and high-risk offender.
How does that help?
Right. Who will have access to the tracking?
tracking.
I don't know. They say you see it and automatically understand that this person around you is someone to be careful about. I know I didn't get that that's the type of tracking
No.
it would be.
Well, like public, like
And
so
then-
people could see.
And then who? So someone who's accused?
But if you're on a list, right? Don't the authorities go around the community and tell people?
And in the U.S., you are
think that's what
required
they
to
do.
tell people.
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
required to go to every house and say, by the way, I'm moving in and I am a this. And,
Are you required to do that?
Here?
No,
what?
in the States.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
You gotta go knock on door to door,
Mm-hmm.
carry some muffins, and like,
No,
hi,
you don't want those.
I'm
muffins.
here.
You don't want those muffins. But it just let you know. Right? Ew, boy, oh boy. Okay. And this one says here, Minister Monroe is a human rights advocate. People need to do their homework before they elect people and not just elect people for party's sake. But he should only speak on the government's view, not his personal view. We need to start by having a safe haven for kids, like a boys and girls club that's available 24 hours. Hire some of the retired civil servants to man it. Okay.
Those places have their problems too.
Okay, so this is the person who sent the text about sex. If you're a sex offender, why would you be living with children? Clarification. The question about sex offenders living with children was because of a previous text about tracking the offender living with his girlfriend and children. In the U.S., offenders aren't even allowed around their own kids. Is the registry just for awareness, or are we going all the way on this? Right, so that's what I'm saying. So sometimes, I mean, some of these people will claim ignorance and will say, I didn't know. But some people do know. And some people are very forgiving. Okay, I get what you were saying. Yeah. Well, the question is, why would the girlfriend be around somebody with her children, knowing that this man is on the sex offenders list?
Right.
Why indeed? And I guarantee you, in this country right now, there are people who know fully well that the man or the woman they are with has been accused of rape, has been convicted of rape, is out from jail after serving rape sentences, and they are with them with their little children all up around them. And so you have to wonder what is going on with some of our people. This is the world we live in. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, University of the Bahamas celebrating 5 years as the University of the Bahamas. And we're talking with the president right after the break.
Domingos.
Technology makes every day in life just a little bit easier. Whether it's for joy, productivity, or creativity, Custom Computers has all the latest gadgets to conquer any obstacle. Imagine automating mundane tasks with tech and living a freer, richer lifestyle, all while staying on top of your goals. The path to freedom could fit in the palm of your hand. Discover tomorrow's technology today at Custom Computers on Patton Street, Cable Beach, and Caves Village through the Blake Road entrance.
Best rate, no delays. Best rate, no delays.
PTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy up to 150 megabits per second plus 157 TV channels and unlimited home phone minutes for only $99.99.
Best rate, no delays.
Visit a PTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network. Conditions apply.
The Water and Sewage Corporation advises its customers that the corporation will commence disconnection of all outstanding accounts beginning Monday, November 15th, 2021, in both New Providence and the Family Islands. Customers with outstanding accounts and financial agreements are requested to ensure that their accounts and financial agreements are brought up to date as soon as possible to avoid an interruption in service. Should you need to speak with a customer representative, please visit their Mall of Mouthhorn location or the corporation's head office on University Boulevard between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, or via local banks, the corporation's website, pay by phone by dialing 302-5630, or any Cash and Go, Omni Flash Cash, or Sun Cash locations.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you see. All the women, woman, yo. Yo, let's go, man. We can do it like this. Representing all the Bahama mamas, all the women that are struggling, all the kids and what's up. Do away with that. Yes, sir. If you wanna be a Bahama mama.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And it's a big day for the University of the Bahamas. They are celebrating a major milestone, major anniversary today. And we are very pleased to have with us, it's been a while, the president of the University of the Bahamas, Dr. Rodney Smith. Dr. Smith, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Hope you are doing well.
I'm doing great, thank you.
All right. So he said it's been a while. We haven't seen you since before the pandemic, but there's been a lot going on. We want to talk about what's happening at the university and how you're celebrating, and happy anniversary. Congratulations again today. But as we said, there's been a lot happening. We want to talk a little bit about that before we get to the university and the celebrations. We know there's been a lot going on with you, your career, your tenure at UB, and of course there's a search for the new president. Let's talk about that very briefly. How we got to this point, and what happened over the last year and a half there. It's been in the news and quite controversial. But where, if you could address the issue there, we know this was your contract wasn't ending until 2022, I believe. But shed some light on this situation for us, please.
Dwight, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to talk about something that's an ongoing matter. I think that perhaps another day, another opportunity, but I don't think that this is the appropriate time to do that this morning. I would prefer to talk about the Charter Day. I think that we have to wait to see how things are going. And I think I would be speaking out of turn. And to address those kinds of questions, probably best to come from the chair of the Board of Trustees.
Okay. And you can't say anything about where things stand with the search for the new president either.
No, I have not been. I've not been a member of the search committee. I have not been consulted on the search, so I really can't speak. The best person, as I said, is the chair of the Board of Trustees.
Okay, all right. Let me take that. So let's talk about it. Charter Day. It's been 5 years. We remember the excitement 5 years ago about this. And so many changes in those 5 years. But let's talk about how we are celebrating this and where we've come, how far we've come in these 5 years.
Well, Dwight, the University of the Bahamas is celebrating a very, very special milestone today. This is the 5th anniversary of our charter, 5th anniversary of the University of the Bahamas' existence. But you know, the University of the Bahamas has been in transition now for many, many years to become the university, on the backs of an extremely strong College of the Bahamas, and of course under the leadership of Dr. Kevin Bethel and the University Transition Secretariat. They all did fantastic work prior to our transition to University of the Bahamas. But today we are also celebrating some other things. In addition to this week being our homecoming week for 2021, we're also celebrating today, which is our 24-hour day of giving. We have been challenged by both our U.S. Foundation, University of the Bahamas Foundation in the United States, as well as our Canadian Foundation boards. And they have launched a $10,000 matching challenge gift, so that every dollar that is donated to the university today, up to $10,000, both our foundations will match that challenge.
Wow, that is amazing.
And we have an opportunity today to people can drive through our main entrance and drop off a donation right at the guard gate. As they drive through, they don't have to come out of their cars or anything like that. And it's going on from 9 o'clock this morning to 4 o'clock this afternoon. And so we're very, very excited. We would have liked to be celebrating our 5th anniversary a different way, other than the pandemic, perhaps having a gala gala ball tonight of some kind, but of course we're not able to do that. So we're going to celebrate anyway and celebrate in different ways throughout the week. As I said, this is our day of giving. We also have a movie night tonight at the Fusion Superplex for all faculty, staff, and students for free. We have a Greek night on the 11th tomorrow night. We have UB Sip and Paint on the 14th of November. And of course, here's a big event on the 13th of November, 7 p.m. We have a drive-in concert at the University of the Bahamas Band Shell. And spots are limited, so we encourage people to come as early as possible and get a good spot.
All right, sounds great. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about how far we've come with UB and as you mentioned, the pandemic, how that's affected how things are going, and get more details about how we're celebrating this anniversary. We're talking with Dr. Rodney Smith. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Eyes of a human, hair and bone and bread. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead. Eyes of a human.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:21, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure that continues to build across the country and promote moderate to locally fresh winds. Meanwhile, a cold front near the southeast Bahamas will continue to weaken. For all areas today, look for partly to mostly cloudy and breezy conditions with isolated showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly in the southeast Bahamas, a few stray showers elsewhere. For boaters, a small craft advisory remains in effect due to the presence of swells, moderate northerly swells. There's also a risk of waterspout activity in the southeast Bahamas, and beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution along east coast beaches due to the threat of rip currents and rough surf. Temperature-wise, today look for highs getting up to around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure centered north of the islands will continue to maintain moderate to fresh winds. And a cold front expected to move off Florida on Friday, along with associated prefrontal activity, will generate unsettled weather over the country by the end of the week. So ahead of that, for Thursday, look for variably cloudy and breezy conditions with widely scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms by Thursday afternoon. Friday, variably cloudy and a bit breezy to breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, we've got showers and thunderstorms associated with a strong non-tropical low centered about 350 miles northeast of Bermuda. It continues to show signs of organization. The system has about a 50% chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And we've got another check of your weather, of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, heavy traffic on Mila Butler Highway. That's extended well south of the Fire Trail roundabout. If you're heading northbound to Tawny Williams Darling Highway, so meet the traffic there. And if you're on Fire Trail, you're backed up quite a ways as well. And traffic is building on the Tawny Williams Darling Highway side, westbound to the roundabout with Mila Butler Highway. So that's an area that's going to be troublesome for you. The alternate routes are also busy this morning. Gladstone Road, heavy traffic northbound from Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive. And Blue Hill Road, especially north of Soldier Road, heavy traffic there heading towards Independence Drive. And near the junction with Carmichael Road and further south with St. Vincent Road. And then Caroline Boulevard, heavy traffic backed up there at that intersection. Independence Drive is also looking very messy for you this morning, westbound especially to the roundabout with Blue Hill Road, but also eastbound as you approach the roundabout with East Street and East West Highway. And then East Street is going to be busy north of Soldier Road to that roundabout with East West Highway, and even north to the intersection with Robinson Road. Soldier Road, also not a street you want to be on this morning, especially eastbound, east of Blue Hill to East Street and further up to Windsor Place. And then once you cross the intersection with Prince Charles Drive, Robinson Road, it is really not looking good for you as you get closer to that intersection with Bernard Road, Village Road, and Wolf Road. If you can wait till after 9 o'clock, that might be the thing for you to do. Eastern Road also busy from well east of San Souci up to Johnson Road on the way to Montague. Mainly the westbound lanes there. Prince Charles Drive, heavy traffic in the intersections. And near especially Elizabeth Estates this morning, Foxhill Road and Beatrice Avenue. So many hot spots, just some areas that, again, if you can wait till after 9 when things die down a little bit, that might be the best thing to do. But good luck to you with your real-time traffic and your Morning Glen Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Take that mess from off the wall. Give that baby back its ball. Leave other people things alone. There's other ways to get involved. Get involved, don't be no fool. Stay in school. Let your mind become a tool.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. On this Wednesday morning, we are talking with Dr. Rodney Smith, the president of the University of the Bahamas. It is Charter Day, the 5th anniversary for the University of the Bahamas today. And we're going to get back to the celebrations. You mentioned it before. It's been not the way you would have wanted to do it with the pandemic and so many restrictions. But what has this year and a half been like in a pandemic for the University of the Bahamas? What's worked, what hasn't worked, what's changed, and how much longer can you do that?
Well, Dwight, I think I appreciate you all. Because we have learned so many lessons in the past year and a half. One of our very, very early lessons when we went to teaching virtually and working remotely was that we did not realize how many of our students actually did not have access to technology.
Oh, wow.
And so we actually immediately started a campaign to raise funds to purchase laptops to assist with getting students access to the internet. We actually had some students trying to do their assignments on their phones, trying to attend to classes on their phones. So you have a good idea in terms of how dire the need was.
Yeah.
When we sent out the first call for persons to apply for the laptops that we were getting donated, we had over 600 applications.
Wow, my goodness.
And so we know that there's still a need out there. I think we've done now 3 distributions of, we should be around 150 or so, or around that area. But we're still asking for people to donate to assist with our students with the technology. We also, believe it or not, have students who are first generation students who do not have food. So we started a food kitchen as well on campus, where students who don't have access to food are able to come in and pick up some supplies from the campus. So that's another area of donation.
That's very surprising.
But we do
Wow.
have we do have a lot of students who are first generation students. We have students from Family Islands who are actually trying to get an education to not only help their families, but to help the entire settlement. So the need is there, and we're asking the public to drive by, make a donation, either some food item, or some cash of some kind. Yeah, Dwight. But over the past year and a half, believe it or not, we have learned some of the lessons we've learned. Is that because of the focused attention we've had on our work, we have been able to achieve a whole lot. I would say what happened in the past year and a half, under the normal conditions, would have probably taken 3 years to do.
My goodness. Wow.
Because we have done so much. As you know, standing on lines to register is now a thing of the past. Standing on lines to pay bills is a thing of the past. You can do everything now online for all student services, no matter what it is. Our university strategic plan, which was approved by the board in 2019, is more than 50% complete. It's a strategic plan 2019 to 2024. As you know, we went into our first board of trust one for the University of the Bahamas, had a lot of work to do. And so they had bylaws to come up with. They had board committees to establish, board charges, constitutions for each subcommittee of the board. And then we were also simultaneously starting the Academic Senate. And the Academic Senate had to go through a process of creating bylaws, creating working Senate committees, et cetera. So all of these things have been going on over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now. But we have actually, the university, without any question in my mind, has made tremendous strides. As a matter of fact, because of our advances in digitization for the university's campus, and administrative as well as teaching services, the University of the Bahamas was one of six colleges and universities in the entire world to win the Impact Award for Technology in September of 2020. Yeah, that's huge. Our research is going extremely well. Our faculty members are publishing widely in peer-reviewed journals and books, in chapters and books. Those have gone up. Our grantsmanship has also increased tremendously. We're actually in the millions now when it comes to our grants that we're getting. We're not like, 100,000 here, 100,000 there. No, we're over $1 million in terms of some of the grants we're receiving now.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Wow. So I was going to ask you about the lecturers, the professors, the faculty. So yeah, they've adjusted, it seems.
They've adjusted extremely well. I'm very, very proud of the work of the faculty. The Academic Senate has approved several new master's degree programs, master's degree by research, MBA.
Do we lose Dr. Smith? Oh boy. Do we lose him? Yep. No.
And propel
Okay, there we go.
the work we need to do, even more so.
All right, you dipped out for a bit there. Okay, but glad that we got you back there. All right, so that is amazing. So going forward, what's changed? We know there was some debate about whether vaccines should be required. How much longer will we see these adjustments? Are they here to stay? What will going to University of the Bahamas look like come 2022?
Well, I am one of those persons who follows very closely what's happening globally. You might know that I'm a member of several organizations, global organizations, where presidents meet and discuss various events and various needs within a particular basis. I think that we're going to see a lot of what we've learned remain a part of our new world. I delivered a paper about a couple of weeks ago on what is higher education in the 21st century going to look like. And one of the points I made was that we are now in the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution has been sparked by the use of technology, also by the use of artificial intelligence. And so the University of the Bahamas itself, whilst we are trying to make sure that our students have the technology they need, we simultaneously have to keep our eyes on where the rest of the world is going in terms of the use of technology and artificial intelligence, and make sure that the University of the Bahamas does not fall behind any other university or college around the world. I believe that the announcement, the Academic Senate just yesterday gave approval for how the spring 2022 semester will look. There are several courses that will be held on campus, of course, with a limited number and socially distanced. But something we've also done in the past several months is to introduce, we've also introduced interactive classrooms on campus so that the faculty member, a facilitator of learning, as I prefer to call them now during this fourth industrial revolution, will be able to use an interactive class to teach half of the class face-to-face and teach another half of the class virtually, all at the same time, synchronous and asynchronous learning. So we have 4 classrooms like that now on campus. We started out with 1 to see how it would work. Now we have 4 of them. So we are able to teach courses, continue to do what we have been doing, even if students are on family islands or we have students in Canada, by the way, students in France, and we have faculty members who are teaching from all 5 continents in the world. So that has really changed the entire makeup of the University of the Bahamas and actually given us access to more global expertise that we can call on. We can invite guest speakers to a class, an interactive class, and have a real-time conversation, and analysis. So the University of the Bahamas has changed tremendously, and all of these great factors that have come online for us, we're going to maintain those.
Yeah, wow, all right. That's exciting. Yeah. That's exciting there. So you don't need to be physically here, and finally to be enrolled, and even full time with the University of the Bahamas.
All of our graduate degrees are online, so anyone, anywhere in the world can take their doctorate degree or master's degree through the University of the Bahamas online. Yeah. And students who are taking some courses, students right now for the past year and a half, several of our family island students have stayed home and they've been keeping up with their work and their studies. Interestingly, students from UB North and University of the Bahamas main campus in Nassau were able to take courses from the different campuses. I think in this fall semester, we had over 1,200 courses enrolled in from UB North students that were being taught in Nassau. So we are learning all of these valuable lessons so that we are not limited by our physical structure anymore.
Yeah.
The technology, the world of technology, as I said, this fourth industrial revolution has really opened the world to the University of the Bahamas.
And what have the students' response been to all of this?
We have been surveying on a regular basis, and I think a wide majority not a wide majority, but a large number of our students wish to come back to face-to-face. We also, interestingly, have some students who prefer virtual learning. And we have some students, the vast majority said they prefer the hybrid approach, which is both virtual and face-to-face.
Yeah. What is the position now about vaccines for students? Is it a requirement? Where do things stand at this point?
No, we have not made it a requirement. What we are doing is like I said, we have some students who must be on campus for their courses with a limited number of courses and socially distanced. and of course wearing masks at all time, and using hand sanitizers, which are located throughout the campus. But we also have set up a testing on campus so that's taking place on campus all the time. And these must be no longer than 5 days old. So that's happening throughout the week on campus. So if you're fully vaccinated, you just show your vaccination card, you come on campus. Of course, they check your temperature at the gate for everyone. And but if you don't have a vaccination card, you have to go over and get the test. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get the results, and then you head off to your class. So, but in terms of having a mandated vaccination for our students, faculty, and staff, we do not.
Yeah.
The majority of our faculty, staff, and students, though, based on the surveys, are vaccinated.
You mentioned UB North. We know in the last 5 years, of course, Dorian, and that was devastating. What's happening there? And plans to move the campus, rebuild the campus? Well, what is the way forward for UB North?
Well, as you know, we had the Hurricane Dorian in 2019. The East Campus of UB North was under almost 20 feet of water. And that destroyed the residential hall that was opened in 2018. It was destroyed by the hurricane in 2019, and it was raised completely in 2020. But we're going to repurpose that East Campus into a field research station. And that is where we're going to do a lot of marine agricultural and solar energy research, as well as locate the climate change. Sorry, could you hear me still?
Yes, we can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. The climate change resilience and adaptation center, research center. The Board of Trustees has made the decision to create a new main campus in downtown Freeport. And over the past year, I've been negotiating to purchase certain buildings for renovations. And that is almost completed. And I would imagine an announcement would be made in due course on that. But I think that I have to commend Dr. Ian Strachan, I know is your brother, who really took the leadership seriously after Hurricane Dorian. And because of the fact that all of our data for our data management system are stored in the cloud, as soon as Dr. Strachan was able to identify a new location as to where we could have our classes, which is a Teachers Credit Union building, we were able to get the technology back in place, connect it up, and have uninterrupted teaching, uninterrupted progress towards graduation of our seniors in less than a month after Hurricane Dorian. And that's an unbelievable accomplishment. And it was made possible not only by his determination and his leadership, but also by the fact that we were completely digitized and our data was stored in the cloud. So my recommendation, and I've been saying this over and over, because we live in a hurricane belt, I strongly recommend to businesses, I strongly recommend to school systems to get your data stored in the cloud.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We know there's been a bit of a building spree at the university here in Oaksfield. Let's talk about that and where things stand with that, and those dorms that were on the drawing board. What can you tell us?
Yes, we had, after Hurricane Dorian, actually, we had to slow down because we realized, the developers realized that they had to go back to the drawing board and redesign the building to withstand severe hurricane impact winds as well as severe flooding. Before Hurricane Dorian, the building was going to be at ground level with a 5-story parking facility. The redesign now is that all of the parking will be under the building, and the building will be, the ground level will actually begin from the first floor up.
Okay.
That was one of the major changes. That's been completed. All of the drawings are now completed, and my understanding is that all of the testing for the pilots have been completed, and we should see the work starting hopefully before the end of this fall semester.
Okay. All right.
Also,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you were saying, go on.
In terms of buildings as well, you know that we've been lobbying for a few years to get the Clarence A. Bain building property.
Right.
And a part of that donation from the government to the University of the Bahamas is that we're going to build a 10,000 seat multi-purpose convocation center. And that's a huge revenue producer for the university. And if you can imagine having our 1,000 bed residential facility with our ballroom, with our cafeteria, along with housing for faculty and visiting students across the street almost from that convocation center and down the road from the National Stadium. The University of the Bahamas is going to be able to host a whole lot of events that will increase the revenue to the Bahamas tremendously.
Yeah.
I'm talking about religious conferences, religious guilds and conferences annually. I'm talking about almost monthly tournaments with NCAA teams, basketball and otherwise, playing in that multipurpose convocation center, highlighting, of course, our own UB Mingos that will have the opportunity to compete and to travel and to be exposed to many fantastic things that are happening.
Yeah.
The university is on its way with its international accreditation. We've had several consultants working with us. We're putting all of our assessment tools in place, assessment coordinators in all academic and non-academic areas. So we are moving. We've gotten a lot accomplished. We still have a lot more to do.
Yeah. Now, I know what your answer is going to be because this is just, we hope, temporary, the pandemic. But you talked about it earlier about all of the changes we've seen and remote learning. Do we still need to develop the dorms in that way with the changes that we've seen?
Yes, we do, actually. We've been, in my conversations with colleges and universities, presidents around the world, we know that we still have to implement, or we still have to use study abroad. And we still have students who need the opportunity to advance in face-to-face environments as well. So yes, the answer is yes. Those students who will be living on campus, those faculty members who will be living on campus, graduate students who will be living on campus, will be doing so mainly at their choice. But we do have a policy whereby all first-year students, all athletes, must live on campus in their first year. But as I said, we're looking at a hybrid approach moving forward so that we still have access to higher education to individuals from anywhere they are in the world, actually. But yes, to answer your question, we do still need the residential facility. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of the greater equation.
Yeah, it definitely helps to build school spirit as well. Did I hear you right? You said it's a policy for first-year students? It will be a policy for
It will. Once the residential facility is complete, we will have a policy for first-year students to live on campus.
So even if you live...
Well, I think the policy has reference to location or proximity to the university. Mm-hmm. I think if you live within a certain proximity, you do not.
Okay.
But Dwight, let me explain something to you. I mentioned earlier that we have a lot of first-generation college students. Mm-hmm. We also have students who, for want of a better phrase, need to be away so that they can focus on their studies, away from families. We have students who have struggled and continue to struggle to remain in school and have somebody or individuals at home encouraging them to stop, to go to work, to help to take care of the younger ones. Wow. And they're not seeing the bigger picture or the future in terms of what that educated young man or woman could actually do for the entire family. Mm-hmm. So we still have instances like that where significant others at home with a college education or with some degree of education that they understand the value of that education. So we after looking at all of the factors and talking with our academic counselors, we all agree that if we can give these students a boost, at least in their first year of being at the university, their chances of graduating are going to be tremendously higher than if we let them continue to struggle. We just completed several surveys of students who were admitted for the university but did not attend. We surveyed students who were returning students and who did not come back for the fall of 2021. And so some of these factors are still in existence. Some students have to work. Some students have to work and try to go to school part-time. I have to say, though, that the government tertiary education grant that was implemented was a godsend for who we've had the highest number of full-time enrollment ever, and that number continues to go up. So having that policy for residential students is more to help our students have a leg up, so to speak, in terms of their own academic and professional careers.
No, it's going to be amazing. All right, so this is a great text that's coming in. So will that change? What will the cost be? Will that change what students, as you mentioned, who are being assisted through the government, how will that affect that?
No, the good thing about it is we're trying to keep, the developers are trying to keep the cost down so that the cost can be maintained at a low level for our residential students. And actually, interestingly, the cost is actually going to be maintained at or less than what the housing allowance is right now that the government has implemented, which is, as you know, $500. We're looking at trying to maintain that or have it at less. I think that the developers are looking at every avenue for the financing is there. They're looking at all different avenues. We've looked at avenues in terms of having high occupancy rates within the building. I think that some of our sister institutions here in Nassau have reached out to see whether or not the university could house some of their students from the Family Islands. And so we're looking at different possibilities, but overall, I think we're going to be able to maintain a low cost for our students.
All right, that is amazing. All right, so we want to get back to what some of the celebrations are, but just want to ask you, there are people who are going to say, well, what's changed now that we are the University of the Bahamas? How can we look around and see that, although you mentioned a lot of exciting things this morning, but what is different between the University of the Bahamas after these 5 years and what was the College of the Bahamas?
Yeah, I think one of the most significant, there's so many changes. It's not the same institution, I guarantee you that. But one of the most significant changes, I think, is our complete digitization process. The fact that we can operate from anywhere in the world and either teach or either work remotely at an administration level. I think that we are now, the faculty, staff, and students are focused more so on the future as we continue to expand all of our academic offerings. We are engaging in programmatic reviews on a regular basis. Our Chief Academic Affairs Officer, Dr. Maria Oriaki, is focused on implementing assessment methodology throughout the campus right now as well. We are very, very much focused on what we need to put in place for our international accreditation. So I think that, and I mean, all of this in addition to what you see in terms of our physical structuring. In a year, 2 years from now, it's going to look tremendously more different than it does now. To look back and say, oh, I remember when that area was a bunch of bush or vacant lot, and that will hold a 1,000-seat residential facility with a ballroom, with a cafeteria, with parking spaces. And then across the street will be our convocation center surrounded with parking spaces. So the picture is there, the vision is there, and I have every confidence that those things will fall in place. UB, I can guarantee the public that UB is not what COB was. COB was a step in the process for UB. As COB provided that tremendously strong foundation, that background. I have to commend all of the faculty members, all of the students, all of the staff members who've been there for so many years for pushing and plotting and making sure that the university is where it is today. The university could not have transitioned or it has without the support of everyone, including the public, including our political leaders, including the businesses out there, and of course, without any question, the donors, people who support the university financially, people who support scholarships, people who support buildings, people who give every single year to make sure that certain programs take place, like the Anatole Rogers Lecture Series. All of these things come from the general public, and the University of the Bahamas could not be where it is without the support of everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so remind us, a lot of things are happening today and over the next few days. It's homecoming week. Remind our listeners about those events, Dr. Smith.
Okay, today is, like I said, Day of Giving, the 10th of November, 2021. Folks can drive through the campus and make a donation. Tonight is movie night at the Fusion Superplex for students for free.
What are you all going to watch?
Pardon me?
What are you all going to watch tonight? Do you know?
I heard our chief student affairs officer say the name of the movie yesterday, but I can't remember.
Oh, I see it here. It says the latest Marvel movie. Okay, so that's
Eternals. That's right. That's
Eternals. Okay, all right.
That's right. That's right.
That sounds like fun.
We have a return to the Greeks on the 11th of November, tomorrow night. We have a UB Sip and Paint on the 14th of November. Now, all of the spaces are filled, but additional persons would have to be added to the waiting list. And then we have our first drive-through or drive-in live concert in the University Band Shell on the 13th of November at 7 p.m.
Okay. It's a whole lot. We're going to post some of it on our pages as well, and it's all over your social media. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and happy UB Charter Day to you and to everybody at the University of the Bahamas. And go Mingos. And it's always a pleasure talking with you, Dr. Rodney Smith. Always. Thank you so much.
You got to say go Mingos the right way. You got to go,
go
Mingos.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Dwight.
Thank you very much. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Enjoy. We're gonna
Thank you.
We're going to take a break and be back with more. We've got your COVID vaccination raffle drawing coming up. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. You're going to say it before we go? Say it? The way you did it?
Go Mingos.
Okay, there you go.
Is that it?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Alone. There are other ways to get involved. Get involved. Don't be no fool. Stay in school.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
We are working to protect our country, our people, and our livelihoods so that we can move forward. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is easy. The vaccine is essential for our recovery. If we want to rebuild our economy, if we want to get back to our jobs, if we want to get back to our lives, our families, we must do this together.
Hurricane season is here. If you're not prepared, it can really turn your life upside down. Fortunately, there's CG Atlantic General. Our people are here, ready to assist at a moment's notice, with protection like alternative accommodation for those who are displaced due to a storm. It's our priority to make sure you have what you need when you need it most. So when your life gets turned upside down, we can help to turn it around. CG Atlantic General. Good like that. Security and General Insurance Company Limited, trading as CG Atlantic General. Contact a CG Atlantic General broker today.
Hello? Yes, it's time. I know a lot sooner than we thought. Well, that's thanks to those returns from my RF mutual funds. You know they have some of the best performing funds in the market. Yup, with what I've been earning, I can finally set a date for my product launch. Draft the paperwork, I'm on my way.
Reach your financial goals sooner with RF Mutual Funds. Sign up by November 29th for a chance to win $1,000. Find out more at rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
That's the sound of a bite-sized payment I made on my new laptop.
Can I make a bite-sized payment on this amazing vacation?
Yes, with Scotia Select Pay. Now, my big ticket credit card purchases are more manageable with flexible bite-sized payments over 3, 6, 9, or 12 months at a lower interest rate. Scotia Select Pay allows me to better plan my expenses over time. The best part? No credit checks or financing application. Visit bs.scotiabank.com. Conditions apply.
Encouraging that the national COVID-19 vaccine rollout is going successfully. It's not the only precaution to reduce the spread of the virus in our communities. It's important to continue practicing safety protocols because it is our social responsibility to protect ourselves and to protect others.
Wash your hands for a friend with a weaker immune system.
Only read and share information from trusted sources to avoid unnecessary panic.
I'm gonna need y'all to avoid these large crowds. You could have loved ones at home who have underlying health conditions. Do it.
Practicing safety protocols is an act of brotherly and sisterly love.
The life you save may just be yours as well as your neighbor.
We will win.
We will win.
This message is brought to you by the PAHO WHO Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Country Office, the Ministry of Health, and the Healthy Bahamas Coalition.
Shanae's Chesapeake Road Christmas Wonderland is open under the Big Tent. Get your Christmas trees in pink, frosted, green, or white in a variety of sizes. Musical Christmas LED and laser lights, a large variety of tree ornaments, lighted angels and Santa tree toppers, bright and lively colored Christmas balls in all sizes, garlands, wreaths, tree skirts, stockings, and lots more. Add flowers, picks, and decorative mesh to brighten up your home or office this holiday season. And don't forget the toys at Janae's Chesapeake Road. Check our selections online at www.janae's.com. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards coming from Morning Blend Business. We've got a lot to talk about. It's in the business news today, and some interesting comments. A lot to get to, so stay tuned for that. And we want to get your feedback to it. But it is time, you know what that music means. It's time for the Bahamas COVID vaccination raffle drawing. 2 great prizes today to give away. And oh man, any of these sound pretty good right now. All right, so we've got Greycliff Wine and Chocolate Basket. Could use that this morning.
Yeah, wow. Wine and chocolate basket from who?
Greycliff.
Oh, great. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you know it's good stuff.
Yeah, good chocolate, good wine.
And then the big prize, 4 passes to Dolphin Encounters.
Ooh.
Okay, all right, so this is great. Let's do it. The first one, Greycliff Wine and Chocolate Basket. Again, you know why I'm going to call your name. It's if you're registered on vaxbahamas.com after you've been vaccinated already or even partially vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes to be a part of this. So the Greycliff Wine and Chocolate Basket goes to, oh boy, it's one of those names today.
Is that a punny name?
No, I don't think so. Forgive me if I get it wrong. Himchan Rampersad. Himchan Rampersad. All right? Rampersad. Yep. Okay. HIMCHAN. Rampersad. RAMPERSAUD. Congratulations. You've won the Greycliff Wine and Chocolate Basket. Woo. Hey. All right. And now the 4 passes to Dolphin Encounters. Jermaine Pierre, GermainPierre. Pierre, you've won the 4 passes to Dolphin Encounters. Congratulations. Hope
Yeah.
you got your friends for that one. That sounds like a lot of fun. Again, we'll be drawing more names tomorrow. VaxBahamas.com. That's all you have to do to be a part of this.
Vaccination is probably germane to the fun.
That's Chester Robards. He's here every Wednesday, folks. Oh, boy. Hey, let's break for the news and be back with Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning, and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards with you. And hey, this is shaped up to be quite a morning. Okay, so wow. We had got message that our guest wasn't going to be able to join us, but surprise, surprise, we are very pleased to have Director General of Tourism Joy Gibberlou with us this morning. This is a pleasant surprise, Joy Gibberlou. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning to listening Bahamas.
And Chester's right here with us as well, Chester Robards.
Good morning.
Chester's going to say this is too much, but Chester always good morning
It's
to
always
you.
a pleasure.
All right, so we got word that your schedule was going to allow for you to be with us anymore, and so oh boy, but this is great.
There was a miscommunication, but we'll discuss that. But it's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm always available, and I'm here. So if any questions, happy to have a conversation with you both.
We are very delighted and happy to be with you. Okay, so great stuff. We've seen the commentary. The numbers are trending in the right direction. After the year and a half that we've had, the unbelievable year and a half that we've had. But let's talk about it, what we're seeing and what we're looking at as we approach the end of the year, and 2022 is fast approaching as well.
That's right. And once again, good morning, Dwight and Chester and everyone who's listening. The Ministry of Tourism has been working consistently over the past 18 months. And a lot of the work that we actually do takes place in the background. It's a lot of preparatory work. And I know because of the situation that we were in, because of the fact that so many hotels were closed, businesses that engage the tourism sector were closed, people wondered what was going on. But as I look back on it, I know now we were preparing the ground for what is happening now. And it's such an important story because tourism is so important to our economy. It's so important to our recovery, to our rebound, that I wanted to share this story, that the light is definitely shining at the end of the tunnel. And I was able to share with Chester in a conversation, and it's worth repeating, that if we look at global statistics, and we look at the rebound for international travel, and I'm comparing with 2019. Everyone has acknowledged that 2020 is a complete wipeout. So no one is looking at comparisons to 2020. So go back to 2019, that was a banner year for the Bahamas. But if you look at total global travel rebound, that's trending approximately 77% down on 2019. If you also considered what the forecasts were for the Bahamas for recovery from tourism, and I think this is what really got to a lot of people and had people in the Bahamas questioning, why are we so dependent on tourism? Forecasts were that we were not going to recover really until the fourth quarter of 2023, potentially into the first quarter of 2024. But if we look at where we are now, I want to speak about the Americas. Their recovery is down 65% compared to 2019. And as bleak as that sounds, the Americas are far ahead. And again, people still, I don't think, would get excited, Dwight. They'll say, well, we're still in a hole. But we have to drill those numbers further. And the numbers that I'm talking about are from actual bookings that people have made to travel to these destinations. So if we look at the Americas, who are trending ahead of the rest of the world, South America is still down 61%. Central America, we saw a strong rebound in Mexico, DR. There's discussion is that Central America is that the Caribbean, but they rebounded very, very quickly. They're down 23%, but the Caribbean is down only 15%. That is amazing. And then the best news for the Bahamas, and I think we've reached the stage where even though it's great news, we are cautious. The best news for the Bahamas is that even though the Caribbean has rebounded so strongly, the Bahamas is ahead of the Caribbean's curve. So all the work that we've done over the past year and a half is yielding results. And it's paying dividends in the sense that we're seeing increased airlift. I mean, we're seeing that talked about in the press, new airlines coming, more are coming, and I'm sure you're going to ask me about that, so I won't get ahead of myself. But I wanted to give you some context for this conversation and the importance of having it for Bahamians to know that if you're not ready, we've got to pull out, we've got to get ready because people are coming back to the Bahamas.
All right, so I don't want to diminish what we've accomplished in any way, but how much of this has to do with proximity and the fact that people are a little skittish about traveling for long distances or traveling for long periods? How much of that is related to the Bahamas just being close and quick to get and easy to get to?
Absolutely valid question. And I won't diminish any of our success by saying we definitely benefited from proximity. When we talked about our first months of recovery, we had a great summer. And I think everyone knew that, in fact, I talked about it last year, that when people started to travel again coming out of the pandemic, they were going to look for destinations that were close to home or at home. And when you ask them what that meant, close to home or at home, for Americans, they were saying that within a 2 to 4 hour range. So that put the Bahamas smack bang in the center. And ordinarily in the Bahamas, we get upset if people sort of put us in, with Americans because we have our own identity, our own culture that we're super proud of. But this was one time I say, we'll take it. Any advantage is a great advantage and we're going to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
But the future growth, and let me say further, to your point, and to validate the point that you made, certainly as we began this recovery, airlift was only available from North America. I want to clarify, from the USA. Canada's borders were closed. Europe's borders were closed. The UK's borders were closed. It was nigh on impossible to get to us from South America. So the only opportunities available were from the US. And so the rebound that we saw initially and the strong return of numbers was definitely American-centric. But suddenly, we now have 8 direct flights coming out of London, England. And that's going to not only just open up the United Kingdom for the Bahamas, that opens up all of Europe. Canada has opened up and they've started with their flights. And it's not just Air Canada, it's also WestJet, It's Sunwing. It's not just Toronto. We see Montreal added. So this pent-up demand that we saw initially in North America, we're now seeing in other destinations. And in fact, if I were able to show the curve of air increase in air travel and visitor arrival numbers, and in this instance, I'm talking stopover visitor arrival numbers, the UK has just outpaced every other country in the world in terms of numbers that are coming in percentage and growth of that percentage. So yes, initially the USA was our strongest rebound market, but we're now seeing that expanded across the world.
Okay. Now I ask that because it's a usual thing we talk about on the show, but whether what we offer has evolved, has it changed? Do we have something new for visitors to see if they've been here before? What is different about the destination?
And, Dwight, you've got your finger on the pulse to what people are asking for. But again, a lot of what's driven the Ministry of Tourism and that has gotten us to where we are now is that we look at data, we look at market intelligence, we look at the stats of visitors who come to the Bahamas, we look at the feedback from those immigration cards that Bahamians no longer fill in, but we study because every visitor fills it in and they tell a story. Now, if we look at the beginning of our recovery, and let's talk about November 2020 through to perhaps summer of 2021, visitors coming to the Bahamas from the USA, 60% of them were return visitors. This was a destination they knew, that they trusted, that they felt safe coming to. We also look at the market intelligence telling us what people were looking for in terms of a vacation coming out of the pandemic. And, it's just some of our God-given advantages that we have no control over. One of the priorities that people said they wanted, and I think it has something psychologically with being pent up, they wanted to get to the beach. They wanted to naturally social distance, but beach and the water were driving people. And oftentimes in the Bahamas, we take it for granted, we diminish it. But those images of the Bahamas, and particularly our waters that we were showing throughout the pandemic to all of our key markets, we weren't selling the destination, just sending out messages of empathy and reminders and, giving people something to think about. That touched people. And so they said, this is what we want to come to. And the market intelligence told us that that's what they wanted. That wasn't just Bahamas specific. That was across the world. If I've been locked up in an apartment in a big city in the USA, I want to go somewhere open. I want to get in the water. So even as we in the Bahamas, during lockdown, everyone had this urge to go on the beach. There was a global feel. And I want to add to that, so beach, sea, water, diving, fishing, anything to do with the water that we have naturally, so that gives us a competitive advantage. People looking for those experiences, cultural experiences, the cuisine, etc., that destinations have to offer. And so people who know the Bahamas or who want to discover it, what we actually have to offer at this time is what people are looking for. Now, I want to add that that's not to say that we should be complacent, that we should rest on our laurels. We have a lot of work to do to build upon what we have. In fact, we've got a long way to go to build upon what we have. And I think that's where we are now, that we recognize that we're coming out of this, we're doing well, but what are the next steps?
Right. All right. So what are the next steps? What is the plan? Is there one, or do we all need to contribute to that? Let's talk about that. Where do we go so that once that wears off, and we hope it's not soon, but when people say they need more, will we be ready?
Dwight, I'm going to use that sound bite. Is this something that we collectively can do? And I think that's key to how I'm going to answer your question. Okay. So what is next? As I said, I think the statistics speak for themselves. The recovery speaks for themselves. There's empirical data that supports what I'm saying. So it's not just the Ministry of Tourism, our hotel partners, or the airlines coming here. It's that you can look at the data, and the data is readily available when they talk about countries that are recovering and recovering well out of the pandemic, returning to travel and tourism. But we're at a crossroads, and we've been at this crossroads for some time. At the Ministry of Tourism, we had a lot of work to do over the years, and we focused on our brand, ensuring that our brand was easily identified, recognized, that it was refined, that it represented the destination. And the destination and what people think of the Bahamas. This is a dream destination. This is something that people have on a pedestal. And so our whole marketing strategy spoke to that, the aspirational aspect of what the Bahamas offers. We then looked at ensuring that we got the airlift. I mean, it's no point having this great destination if people couldn't get here. Our partners were doing a superb job. I mean, all of our hotel partners with the new product offerings, but in addition, all that they have added to make us such an attractive and a competitive destination. And so now the focus, we have to turn inwards. We have to ensure that the people that we've attracted who might not ordinarily have chosen a Bahamas vacation, that we, I'm going to use an analogy, that we reel them in and we keep them hooked. So I said it to another radio host yesterday. We have to make sure that we're presenting our best foot. We're putting our best foot forward and presenting our best selves to the visitors that we've invited into our destination. And it begins with me, it begins with you, it begins with Chester and everyone who's listening. Let's look at us in terms of cleanliness. And I'm talking about the public spaces. Are we proud of them? Do we think they're as clean as they should be? Is that the Bahamas that we recognize from yesteryear? Some of us are older than others. So when I talk about yesteryears, the millennials will think, well, 5 years ago, it looked like that. What about 20 years ago? What about 25 years ago? That's what I'm talking about, that everyone talked about just the beauty, the cleanliness of our country. We have to get back there, but each one of us have a responsibility with that. We also have this amazing opportunity, and we touted it loudly, you know, with home porting and the advantages that the advent of home porting brought to the destination for those who are entrepreneurs. And everybody does look to the Ministry of Tourism to say, well, what are we doing? We have created this enabling environment. We have created an environment where we bring this captive audience who want to take advantage. We want to partner with Bahamians, but our partnership takes a realistic form. We can help you with marketing. We can help with branding. Ideas, if you come to Joy as Joy and say, Joy, what ideas are there for me to really maximize and get into the business that I can take advantage of all the visitors coming to the Bahamas? I'll be scratching my head. I'll say, well, let's sit down and brainstorm about it. We speak with our external partners who continuously tell us there's not enough for people to do when they come to the destination. But it's for us collectively to sit down, put our heads together. And even if we can't do it individually, can we come together collectively in a cooperative sort of way to look at creating experiences that people will come back to again and again and again. And these experiences have to be world class. And world class does not mean that they have to cost hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. You know, I talk about the walking food tour. You walked, you asked guests to walk. They went to other people's restaurants. They might have had a comfort in someone's restaurant here, went to someone else's own, had a grilled snapper, someone else owned for guava duff, but they walked for that experience. So startup costs were not exorbitant. But that was the #1 rated experience on the island of New Providence. Our people-to-people experience that the Ministry of Tourism provides at no cost to the traveling public It's the most highly rated and award-winning experience ever. So these, when I talk about world class, something that leaves people with an understanding of who we are as a people, our culture, and a thirst to do more. And so this is where we are. This is the next stage where we've got to up our game with what we offer, not just in Nassau, but in Luthra, in Andros, in Exuma. The beauty speaks for itself. The water speaks for itself. But if we want people to stay longer and spend more so that we benefit even greater, we've got to create those opportunities to get people to spend their money.
Wow, you said a lot just now. I have a lot of questions based on what you said. You mentioned home porting. That was one of my questions. So disappointed to hear that Royal Caribbean, that's over, and Crystal Cruises is ending. I think is it this month?
This weekend.
This weekend.
This
Wow.
weekend. But let me say, not disappointing. That was always the schedule. And if
Right.
you look at
Yeah.
cruise itineraries, they do work to schedule. And the great news is with Crystal, we're in discussions that we will have them as part of our ongoing itinerary. And I think they were the winners.
Oh, so they do plan on resuming this at some point.
I think so, based on the success of their first outing.
Yeah.
So yes, they'll do a season in the Mediterranean, season in the Far East. They may also do a season in Alaska, but they're looking at a Bahamas cruise again for sure.
People ask me why I'm saying disappointed. I mean, I thought they were like, this is amazing. We have to keep going for another 6 months immediately. But okay. But let's talk more about that. Let's rate the whole thing. Was it satisfactory? Could more, and we know the answer to that, could more have been done? Was there enough for these visitors to see when they went through the islands? Let's get your report card on that.
Well, we have had report cards from both cruise lines. Obviously, visitors are also giving their feedback. So overall, excellent. People who cruise love cruising. And so we've also got to be mindful of the fact that apparently people were just happy to get on a cruise ship, have an opportunity to get out of whether the United States, wherever they were coming from. So the bar was already raised for us because this presented such a great opportunity. For the Bahamas, an incredible opportunity. I'm going to give an anecdote of walking through Lyndon Pinling International Airport. And I'm always met with taxi drivers waiting for business and with our tour operators waiting to collect guests. And oftentimes I hear even the porters, miss, man, business slow or things tough. I came through in the summer and taxi drivers say, whatever you're doing, keep it up. Say it's too much work. This is fantastic, the return to work. So that is from taxi drivers at the airport. I almost said, could I go back in and come back out again to hear it again? Because after such a difficult year, it was almost music to one's ears, but it was with such a sense of happiness that I heard it because I knew what that meant to all the taxi drivers, bus drivers, tour operators who were working. So let's look at it from that sense. Hotels benefited. They saw an uptick in business. People did do pre-tours. They did do post-tours. Crystal Cruises, so many people who went to family islands, who would never have gone to a San Salvador, to a Long Island. A number of them had gone to Exuma, fell in love with it, but they fell in love with the people and made plans to come back to do a deeper stay. So if you rate success on that, this is what we always wanted, the conversion of our cruise passengers into stopover passengers. We also wanted to expose islands that would not ordinarily benefit. Great success. So overall, we've had a very, very, very positive feedback. There were teething problems. I think that's natural. This was huge. This was tremendous. But Ministry of Tourism could not have done it without the partnership of Ministry of Health. And they were really good at helping us work through protocols. In fact, it put the Bahamas ahead of the resumption and the return of cruising generally because we had gone through this with home porting. So it made it so much easier when cruising was opened again by CDC and allowed, we were ahead of the game. Certainly down within New Providence, even Grand Bahama, there were benefits. And I don't think that anyone who was directly involved and even indirectly would say that they would not want to see the home porting happen again. Central Bank gave me some anecdotes that they could see the contribution already from the home porting. They will give their own report on that. So how would we rate it? I think an A minus. Even based on feedback and the response from the cruise lines that they are so positive, they feel that their guests had a positive experience. We rose to the occasion. Why are we not at an A? We could have done more. We should do more. We should have more to offer. And that's where we want to get to.
You mentioned the public spaces, especially downtown. While you were talking, my mind immediately went to east of East Street, and we know we have a crisis down there. Does it fall? Is it in your ministry's purview? What needs to happen? We know what needs to happen, but what are visitors saying when they see that part of New Providence, and what are we going to do?
Dwight and Chester, I think we know the answers. We don't need to pretend. As Bahamians, when we drive down there, I'm sure like me, you look and you're like, oh my gosh, we must do better. We can do better. Obviously, there's a conundrum in that the properties are privately owned for the most part. And so there is a partnership that has to take place. But I think as Bahamians, if each and every one, we can't be passive about it. We've got to be proactive. We've talked about it for so long. Does it fall within the Ministry of Tourism? Directly, no. Indirectly, yes. But I can't see one ministry. Well, there's some I can, but there are any number of ministries that indirectly responsibility falls with. And so I think collectively, I'm going to be calling on all of you to say we're working internally on a campaign, cleanup campaign, looking at what we can do, not just east of Bay Street. Let's look at Bay Street itself as well. So from Bay Street, I don't know, as far as your eye could go, east or west. Work, let's be real. Let's not pretend. And what can be done? I do believe strongly that the Port of Nassau cruise ports with their development tied in with what has happened at the point and what's going to take place with Central Bank will prove a catalyst to development. And people are motivated by finances and their own financial gain. And so I think once we start seeing the upgrade, property prices begin to improve, people will probably naturally feel more inclined to do something. But prior to that, collectively, as I said, this has now become the focus. We feel as a ministry, we've gotten a lot of the other things where they needed to be, and we've got to now focus internally. And so we are working on that, working on a campaign, but it will require every one of us. We can't we're longer going to be allowed to say, that ain't my responsibility, that's someone else's responsibility. All of us will have a role to play.
Absolutely. Chester knows my idea had been, if we don't do something, then we could always turn to a zombie theme park and charge people to come through. But that's an extreme.
Forgive me, that was funny. But yeah.
You make a lot of money. It won't look good, but it'll
certainly would.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a request for proposals for the management of Junkanoo Beach at one time. What happened with that? What's happening with that?
Absolutely right. And the Ministry of Tourism actually was driving that initial process where the request for proposals went out. We actually received a good number of quality proposals for the redevelopment and management of Junkanoo Beach. And so the Ministry of Tourism is in this unique position. The Junkanoo Beach, I think, falls under the purview of beaches and parks, but permits and permitting for any new vendor stall is a Ministry of Works. And we kind of stepped in because that's a place that is so frequented by visitors.
Right.
That's the easiest beach that they could get to, particularly our cruise passengers, and it needed oversight. So we went in to do what we could. And it's a huge financial burden. If you think the amount of people needing just washroom facilities there and to keep that going, to have lifeguards on duty, to keep it cleaned, etc. And so it really would have been great to see that outsourced and managed, but also developed. In the process, I think under the former administration, it was then turned over to initiative, I believe, under the office of the Prime Minister. So we were then taken out of the equation. And from that point, I honestly don't know what happened. But it's still, the opportunity is still there based on the response we got from Bahamians who had the most amazing ideas of what could be done to make that not just attractive, but a really viable touristic option.
And I don't think it falls under you either, the straw market, but do you know what's happening there? We keep hearing soon for a return to the vendors.
Absolutely right. It doesn't fall under us, but of course it's a great tourism attraction, so we're naturally interested in it. The Ministry of Tourism has been invited to meetings by the Ministry of Works, and they have oversight of the straw market. In addition, they invited the Ministry of Health, the Straw Vendors Association, and all other related partners. We've had fruitful meetings. We've had productive meetings. Everybody on the same page and in agreement that the straw market has to reopen. And we are talking soon. And I guess the question is, what is soon? Is it relative or is it soon come type thing? I think we're definitely looking before Christmas. And I would be going out on a limb, but I don't even know if it's wrong to say probably by Thanksgiving. But protocols had to be put in place. Agreements with straw vendors, including the recognition that not all straw vendors would be able to return to work at the same time just because of spacing. And so, as I said, working with the Straw Vendors Association, who had great plans and suggestions that they'd put forward and that Ministry of Health were reviewing. And so it's not just a matter of turning on a switch and being able to go back in, but ensuring that protocols are in place. And of course, whenever you think something is easy, Ministry of Health reminds us, and that's their role and their responsibility. And we all stepped back and said, wow, didn't even think about that, of certain things that need to be put in place. And so when you've got a structure already built and you're trying to carve out necessary spaces that are now required to deal with a pandemic and the possibility of someone being positive with COVID. So these are the types of adjustments that are being made. But just to say that there is active work taking place, everyone on the same page. And again, the light that's shining in this tunnel is also about to shine in the straw market. And it's not just the straw market downtown. We've got the vendors on Paradise Island, also at Malia. So looking holistically at the reopening of all our straw markets.
All right, wonderful stuff. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more. We're talking with the Director General of Tourism, Joy Gibralu, here on Morning Blend Business. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
God, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that? Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
At Fidelity, the holidays are all about family, spending time with loved ones, and being thankful for the little things in life. Worrying about bills should be the last thing on your mind, especially during the holidays. Let Fidelity help you get your bills under control. Fidelity can also get you started with a real savings plan that actually pays you interest. The only thing you need to think about is what you will do with the savings in your pocket this Christmas. That's what I'm talking about. Fidelity Bank is here for you this holiday season because you are family, and family is important to us.
My Gateway is the centralized, safe, secure way to access and pay for government services online. Go to mygateway.gov.bs and log in to request a police character certificate, renew your passport or driver's license, and more. Receive emails confirming requests and alerts when documents are ready. You must have a valid, government-issued ID in order to collect documents. My Gateway is fast, easy, and convenient. Go to mygateway.gov.bs and register today.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Trying to look at traffic now, and there has been some improvement over the past hour, but very little. You still got your congested thoroughfares during the morning commute. As we look at routes like Gladstone Road, Samalabala Highway, and Ka Road, you can see minor changes, but very little of it. With Samalabala Highway, there's been some assistance from Tawny's William Darling West Lane, allowing some of that traffic to get out of there. That holds some traffic up on Tawny's William Darling for a bit, but they're working that out over there. While as we take a look around the rest of the island, we can see congestion on the dual carriage highway, Independence Drive on the west lane, and also Independence Drive on the east lane going into that East Street roundabout. And those typical morning routes that always see a certain degree of delay is happening, like leaving on a Marathon Road to get out there onto Wolf Road, or leaving along Soldier Road to get into that Wolf Road intersection. And even for the traffic that's coming off of Gwynedd Road getting into that same Wolf Road intersection, it's still a bit busy in there. Eastern Road hasn't quite cleared up as yet. Still got a single solid line of traffic leaving from the east, making their way onto Shirley Street. West Bay Street has slowed down a bit coming into the city. Not much, but it has slowed down a bit with some of the traffic leaving along that route, and the intercity just gradually growing. Overall, it's been a slower morning for the traffic commute, even though the congestions are there. Obviously, the weather has been a factor today. The overcast skies, intermittent rains, and wet streets certainly played a role in slowing down the traffic this morning. This Nassau Traffic Service with J.S. Johnson, the only insurance agents and brokers giving you peace of mind in the Bahamas for over 100 years. At jsjohnson.com, you're able to pay your premiums, renew policies at any of their branch offices, pay it your own way. Use online banking or through the local banks. Call J.S. Johnson at 397-2100 for more info. With your rider Skylar Traffic in real time. I'm VANN.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Ticket sales to the Bahamas were up more than 100% last month, according to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investments Chester Cooper, who also revealed yesterday that more than 158,000 visitors visited the country in September. Cooper said overall the Caribbean has continuously ranked as the top performing region for international arrivals in the COVID-19 era, and in October was only 15% down in arrival numbers compared to 2019. Between 2020 and 2050, the Bahamas faces $6.5 billion worth of coastal protection and investment costs and maintenance costs at the high end as climate change threatens the country's land area. Research released by the World Bank that's designed to be a guide to prepare the Caribbean for a new generation of shocks. Early into the document, the authors contend that Caribbean countries are not prepared for the new challenges that will come along with climate change. The document also reveals the enormous costs that will be associated with guarding against the effects of climate change and the subsequent costs of maintaining those guards. It also reminds readers that countries in the Caribbean region, including the Bahamas, are now faced with depleted fiscal resources to deal with these effects because so much financial resources were and continue to be utilized to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. And the Super Value Chief says no need to panic over turkey prices. In recent days, following international media reports, there's been growing worry among Bahamian consumers about the rising cost of holiday staples, including turkeys. But Rupert Roberts says there is no need to panic, given that his supply was ordered 6 months ago before prices shot up. Continued supply chain shortages across the globe and the lingering effects of the COVID-19 economic crisis have driven up the cost of everything from plastic raw materials to everyday food grocery items, including turkeys. U.S. media outlets have reported a 15 to 20% rise in turkey prices this year over last year. But Roberts says Bahamians, at least in Nassau, needn't worry and there's no need to panic. Shop early. He said prices will be higher, but not as high as many have concerns about. Overseas, prices for U.S. consumers jumped 6.2% in October compared with a year earlier, as surging costs for food, gas, and housing left Americans grappling with the highest inflation rate since 1990. The year-over-year increase in the Consumer Price Index exceeded the 5.4% rise in September, according to the Labor Department, which today reported that from September to October, prices jumped 0.9%, the highest month-over-month increase since June. Inflation is eroding the strong gains in wages and salaries that have flowed to America's workers in recent months, creating political headaches for the Biden administration and congressional Democrats, and intensifying pressure on the Federal Reserve as it considers how fast to withdraw its efforts to me. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX. From Tuesday, your market movers, Commonwealth Bank moving 11,500 shares, up 22 cents to $2.52. Commonwealth Brewery moving 10,000, up 40 cents to $8. Full Call moving 2,000, down 1 cent to $3.99. Consolidated Water down 3 cents to $2.26. Emira Incorporated down 9 cents to $11.41. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,099.97, up 20.57. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Gotta do it. Go back to the island, boy.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. We are talking with Joy Gibberlew, the Director General of Tourism. And Joy Gibberlew, you're in today's Guardian Business section in a report written by one Chester Robards about the MICE market being affected by the CDC travel advisory. And MICE, of course, that's meetings, incentives, conferences, and expos. Right. Yeah. So let's talk about that. What are you seeing? What's happening exactly?
So many companies do have policies in place that really limit their staff traveling, especially to countries where there is a CDC. And obviously, in this instance, we're talking about US companies that are impacted by CDC. So where they're in those level 4 rating, they limit their staff from traveling to. Of course, there was many companies who have still got a ban on traveling for their companies generally. But those that have begun traveling, we're finding that they're saying, we would love to come to the destination, but because of the level 4 rating, we're unable to plan. And so that is definitely having an impact. So on the one hand, you're seeing the desire to visit and to come to have conferences, which is really the sweet pot for our hotel partners. But then they are limited by their company's regulations. But the government is working assiduously, I think, on all levels. And also, I have to say, the US Embassy, Dwight, I know you communicate every week with them. They've been great partners. They're also doing their part. Given where we are with our vaccination drive, and also now where our numbers are, and that there's some level of consistency to the lower rates of infection that we're seeing, to have this reviewed. So we hope before the end of the year that we can see a change in this rating, and that it really allows us to capitalize on every aspect of business that's out there and that is available for us to take advantage of.
Yeah, well, we just read another report in the business news about rising prices with what we're seeing globally, the shortages and the supply issues. Is that creating any issues for what's happening with our recovery in terms of tourism?
You may be aware of the fact that World Travel Market has just taken place in London, UK. This is the largest travel and tourism conference or meeting event globally. And so this was the first time in 2 years that it took place. On the sidelines of all the meetings that take place at this, there are a lot of sessions and people giving insight travel and tourism. And I'm giving you that because one of the most interesting things I heard, and I think that we're seeing some evidence of to a slighter degree, is that coming out of the pandemic, with the return of travel, there is an understanding that the cost of travel generally is going to be higher. People appreciate that the cost now, just because of the enhanced protocols that every country needs, the requirement for antigen or PCR testing, the requirement for deep cleaning if you're in a hotel or if you're in a bus or a taxi, means that there are going to be additional costs. And people are not balking at paying those additional costs. They recognize now that that is what is required for travel. But added to that was that the pandemic has caused this backlog in terms of goods and goods particularly being delivered, and that as a result, there is a decrease in the ability to get the goods that you ordinarily would at the cost that you would, and so that there would be additional costs. But people feel that they want to travel more than fighting over the additional costs. Obviously, there will come a point where it just becomes so expensive that it becomes productive. And so we have to be mindful for that. But at the moment we're in where global trends are, that the cost of travel for the foreseeable future will just be more than it was in 2019.
All right. We've got a couple of questions and a couple of calls. Let's see if we can get a couple of these in. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Hi. Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Excellent. And good morning to your guests. Good morning to the nation. Like you, Dwight, you had some very pressing questions, which I felt were not answered, Director General. I felt that you glossed over Dwight's questions that would have provided the necessary information for persons like myself and the public listening with a keen listening ear. But nonetheless, can you please tell us, public, realizing that tourism is still the number one goose, realizing that that's going to remain that way for the foreseeable future, and looking at the last 20 months, what has the Bahamas done to advance the state of tourism locally so that it would prepare the Bahamas to come out ahead of where we were pre-COVID-19? And if we have done nothing, could you please tell us that, please, and not gloss over it? Also, I would like to know, as it relates to this pent-up demand, because right now we are the benefactors of close proximity. There's no question about that, right? After persons have been locked up for so long, borders closed for so long, no flights, etc. Now that we're open up, people are in a desperate state to travel, and we're going to benefit from that. But what exactly, specifically, is it that tourism is going to do to maintain not just that pent-up demand, but when persons go past that pent-up demand and they get to the regular or normal state of traveling, where they're analyzing costs, where they're analyzing activities, locale, where all of these factors are taking place, and then they're comparing that with other destinations, dollar for dollar, pound for pound. What is it going to cost at the end of the day? Can you tell us what the tourism ministry is doing to address these concerns that will come up perhaps in the next 3 to 6 months? And what are we going to do to ensure that we maintain the cruise ship passenger listing, which has been our staple in terms of government revenue through taxes for the many years of tourism? Thank you for the opportunity, Dwight. Okay. God bless. I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. So good morning, caller. You asked, I heard 3 distinct questions, and apologies if you thought I glossed over. I'm happy to clarify and provide deeper insight on those issues that you thought were not well answered. But your first question, if I recall, and of course I'll rely on Dwight and Chester, was what did tourism do to prepare for the return of tourism and on this pent-up demand? Tourism never stopped working. When everyone else went into lockdown, we worked consistently. We had ongoing webinars, training sessions, tour operators, travel agents. I did more media interviews during the lockdown, spoke to every airline consistently. We developed one of the most robust health and safety protocols that touched upon every single tourism sector in this country. So from the visitor arrived at LPIA to the point where they left. When they got into a taxi, a bus, they interacted with a vendor, hotels. In fact, there were over 130 members who worked on this, public and private sector. We were one of the first destinations to come out with our tourism readiness and recovery plan that was touted, not just in the region. In fact, I know it first, without a doubt, it was held up in Barbados as what a recovery plan should look like. But this meant that every stakeholder had something to look at that would help guide them to return in the new normal. The Ministry of Tourism, we trained probably about 15,000 industry stakeholders. So not just did we develop the plan, it's one thing to say, here's the plan, you go read it. We created training sessions that people came to, and our staff went through, and again, working with the private sector. So a partnership that was just extraordinary. And again, all our industry partners complemented and talked about where we were. And in fact, that's some of the reasons why we are ahead of the game, because people understood what we had done. In terms of the travel health visa, the Bahamas was the first country that we started from scratch. There was no template to look at in the development of that. And while there may have been mistakes along the way, while there may have been missteps along the way, this was something that we were just creating and working on. So a lot of work went in to ensure that we were prepared and ready. And as I said, it was recognized by all of our partners. And that was also why we see where we are today. Cruise ships, the Bahamas has a natural advantage. And so to say, I mean, I can be self-deprecating and move away to say that, you know, it's something that just we're blessed with geography, but the multiplicity of islands, the fact that many of these cruise lines have invested in the Bahamas, we always knew that the Bahamas would have a competitive advantage and that advantage would remain for certainly the foreseeable future. And the evidence is bearing that out, that they would see the Bahamas as the place to resume sailing, because they could come to our country, to Nassau, a private island, Grand Bahama, for a 3-day cruise return back. The fact that there's only one health protocol to go through to visit the multiplicity of islands within our country gives us an advantage. When they have to leave the Bahamas and go to every other destination and meet subsequent health protocols, they all say it's a headache. It becomes too burdensome. But again, the cruise lines have touted what the Bahamas has put in place. The fact that we coordinated with our Ministry of Health and worked together to ensure that the protocols were something that they understood. And we never went to sleep. We continued with our marketing. We changed the style of marketing. So I think, that we've got to really be open to understanding that a lot of work was done prior to reopening and that we're benefiting from that work that was done.
Right.
You said and just make sure that I'm on the right track. I think that was one of the points that I raised with Dwight and Chester, and Dwight and Chester, correct me if I'm wrong, to say that's where the focus is of the Ministry of Tourism now. I said that Joy Jabrilu doesn't have the answers from an entrepreneurial standpoint, but the opportunities exist, and collectively we've got to come up with them.
Right.
That we are here to help with the marketing, the branding, even with the creation of the business plans. Government has put a lot of infrastructure in place for that, but opportunities exist, and that's where we will focus.
And you have the Tourism Development Corporation, which is also how you develop that to help with those things.
That's correct. And the small business development, that's what so there are multiple places that people can go to, but that was the specific purpose of the TDC, Chester.
Right.
Absolutely correct.
And so, as you said, the ideas have to come from us, from within us, and that will help with the way forward, definitely. Joy Jabrilu, thank you so much. We really appreciate talking with you as always, and thank you for sharing with us this morning.
And thank you so much for having me, and always a pleasure to be with you and Chester too.
Okay, thank you. All right, take care. Chester, thanks so much.
Yep, always a pleasure.
I'll be back tomorrow morning with more business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, Strachan, have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.